the Derby County players and Paul Warren will be hoping that they can be at the top of the table come 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. They play Reading away in their game in hand in EFL League One. So here we have it. Derby head tomorrow to Reading. It is an 8 p.m. kickoff. I'm not sure why. Maybe we're on telly. I'm not 100% sure. And we're heading down to Reading with the chance to finish the night top of the table. Portsmouth and Peterborough both do not play, but Bolton Wanderers below us do. This gives us a perfect opportunity to put ourselves on the top of the pile on level games with Portsmouth. We will be a game ahead of Peterborough and still a couple ahead of Bolton, but that will sort itself out in time. Bolton have been faltering a bit recently, and the same with Portsmouth, although they won at the weekend, and Peterborough and ourselves have been on some excellent form, obviously, if you discount the draw at the weekend. So let's take a look into the fixture. Let's take a look at the previous head-to-heads of the two sides, and let's see where both sides sit in the league table. If you're enjoying all this Derby County and Formula 1 content that's come over the past week, make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep all up to date with all my content. So if you have a look here, Derby and Reading have faced each other on numerous occasions. This has mainly been a championship fixture in recent years, and the most recent game between the two was in January when Curtis Davis rose like an absolute god and saved us for, I believe it was an injury time goal to draw 2-2 in the season where we got 21 points deducted. That was a game which at that point in time we really needed to win, but we fell into that January slump and we had a few difficult games. But as you can see, Reading have come out on top 10 times, Derby have won 8 times, and there's been 6 draws in the process. But as you can see by the fixtures on screen there, it seems there's a lot of goals in this fixture. You see, in just the past 4 games, there's been, 10, 11 goals between both sides. So I'm expecting to see some fireworks on Tuesday night. So let's take a look at the league table. As you can see, Derby find themselves in 3rd position with a game in hand on Portsmouth. Obviously, as I said, if we win against Reading tomorrow night, we will find ourselves top of the table on goal difference. Peterborough, I'm not 100% sure when they play, but they will then have a game in hand on us. Bolton, obviously, if we don't win our game, could find themselves ahead of us if they win 4-0 or if we lose. As you can see on this table, Reading are struggling this year. They've had a range of points deducted. They're in a bit of financial turmoil and they're in need of a new owner. Recently, they had a fixture postponed because the fans went onto the pitch to protest. So obviously, as Derby fans, we can sympathise with them because of what we went through. But after how they treated us during that season, I won't be joining in any solidarity, claps, chants, whatever. Not for me. I just don't think that it's just not what I want to do. But let's take a look at where Reading are in the league table now. As you can see, down in 21st place. Despite they went on a run recently, I think, of 6 games unbeaten, they haven't been able to pull themselves out of that relegation zone, and they're 4 points behind Exeter. So it's starting to get to that point of the season where you look at the likes of Fleetwood, who are 9 points behind Exeter. You've got those teams down there who really need a big upturn in form to get themselves out of the relegation zone. Reading are a team in that same bracket. Obviously, if they beat us tomorrow, they're only a point behind, and I'm sure they'll see that as a positive. But let's now take a look at the recent team's form, and let's see who the danger men are for Reading. So, as I previously mentioned about Bolton faltering, we can also see that Derby have begun to drop a few stinky performances, and that's just the way I've got to put it. Against Peterborough, I initially put it down to Peterborough being a really good side, but the performances haven't got better since. It's like Fleetwood, yes, we won 3-1, but for me, we weren't great. If we'd have played Peterborough again, I think we'd have lost again. Bradford game, we again wasn't great. Burton Albion, we had a 15 minutes, half an hour period where they were the better side. They went away disappointed from that game, and it's as simple as that. And then at the weekend, if Joe Taylor could finish, we'd have got battered by Lincoln City. It's that simple. If they had Clark Harris or Alfie May or something up front, and they had the same chances, we'd have been put to the sword. We'd have been absolutely battered. But you now look over to Reading. They've only won 1 of their last 5 games, but before that loss to Brighton and Hove Albion's under-21s, they were on, I believe it was a 6 or 7 game unbeaten run, and obviously losing late on against Wigan at the weekend. There's a lot to say about Reading, but it's mainly due to their off-field circumstances. Tom Holmes got sold behind the manager's back. I think his name's Nelson Abbey. He's also looking to be on his way out. I think he's going to Olympiacos, but there was a deal in place for him to go to Luton, but he turned it down. So they've got a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and as a Derby fan, we went through this in 2021-2022. We lost, like, Luke Plange. We sold him on deadline day, and for me, he was never the same player. Festi Ebicelli had a trip to Italy, and the rumour was he was going to Udinese. He denied it. Rooney denied it. It was denied within the club. But then where does he go? Udinese. Luke Plange with his cryptic post about Malcolm Ebiowei. Ebiowei ends up at Crystal Palace. Derby have been through all this. We know what happens, and we saw how it affected the second half of that season for Derby. Although Derby were arguably a mid-table team that season, losing the players that they lost in January just didn't give them any... It lost the momentum, in my opinion, and I feel like that is something that could be happening with Reading. There's a few players that also could be on the way out at Reading. There's obviously Charlie Savage, who has been mentioned a lot with interest for Derby, but Paul Warne denies that rumour, but I know he likes to play his cards close to his chest. You've also got the likes of Sam Smith, who only signed in the summer, who is apparently available to leave. So they're in a really, really difficult position over at Reading. But shall we now take a look at their squad, their top goal scorers, and who's going to cause the most problems for Derby's back four. So, as you can see here, Reading have a couple of top goal scorers at the top of the list with 6. They've got Harvey Nibbs and Sam Smith, both signed in the summer, I believe. You've also got to look in the assist category with Femi Aziz with 6. You've got Lewis Wing with 5, and then Harvey Nibbs again there with 4. So you've got a range of players that can cause us problems, but they're obviously struggling this season, and I think the main reason for that is because they have quite a young squad, but these players can cause problems, and like I wouldn't like bat an eyelid if we were in for Harvey Nibbs in the summer when he went to Reading. Same with Sam Smith, both incredible players. You obviously look Lewis Wing, like the things he's done in the past. He's been a very good player, and he's showing it again for Reading with 8 goal contributions this season. It's difficult to really judge Reading because obviously they've had those points deducted. They're going through a lot behind the scenes, and it's obviously really unsettling for players and staff. So the main threats for Derby to worry about is obviously Harvey Nibbs, Femi Aziz and Sam Smith. I believe Sam Smith's only recently returned from injury. So it's difficult. It's difficult to look at this side because you don't know what Reading's going to turn up on the day. If the fans come out and there's loads of emotion, it could boost their performance. But then, like, Reading are in trouble at the minute and the fans aren't very happy. So can't really see that happening. So now let's take a look at Reading's manager, and then we'll go on to make some predictions for the team and what I think Paul Warne's going to do. So in the summer, I was quite shocked by this announcement from Reading that they went and picked up Ruben Sellers as their manager. Now, I don't really want to look too much into his results because I think there's a lot going on at Reading which is out of his hands. It reminds me very much of Rooney while he was here. Now, understandably, Rooney since then hasn't gone on to bigger and better things, which has shown that maybe if we'd have had a different manager, we could have stayed up. And Reading might feel the same. They're picking up points, but they're struggling. They're struggling a lot in League One. They do have, in my opinion, a very good group of players, but obviously a lot of them are quite young, and that obviously is very difficult to deal with. Obviously, Sellers is in only his second managing role. Obviously, he was at Southampton earlier in 2023. So he's won 13 games, lost 16 and drew 6 of his 35 matches so far. But I don't really want to judge him. And I think Reading fans are probably in the same boat because of the situation that he's having to deal with. Now, let's make a team prediction. Let's see what I think Paul Warne's going to do. So, I'm predicting that we're going to play a 4-2-3-1 formation, a little bit like this. I'm now going to put the team together and tell you and explain why I picked those players. So, here is the team that I've selected. I'm pretty sure that it's the exact... Oh, no, it's not. There's one change. The one change that I've made is John Jules for Louis Sibley. I think, as much as I think Sibley deserves a run of games, I don't really know where we can fit him in, personally. I think John Jules has shown a lot of quality since coming into the side, but I do think he needs to show more. Obviously, he's still in that phase of injury recovery. Yes, I know he's started a few games, but he's still getting his body back into the right window. Obviously, I've spelt Barkhuizen's name wrong, but we'll move. Barkhuizen and Mendes-Lang on the flanks. They can swap over John Jules. They can all rotate as a 3 and behind. For me, I think it'd be incredible if we could get a striker that could play all those 4 positions as well. Then you're consistently changing it as the game goes on. If one of your wide men gets tired, you just rotate around, and I think that would be excellent to watch. We saw it previously under Liam Rosenior and Wayne Rooney, when you had like the likes of Knight, Lawrence, Morrison, Luke Plange, Ebioe all rotating as a front 4, and I quite like it. Obviously, you can see I've kept Vickers in goal. I'm still not 100% sold, but kept a clean sheet. There's not much more you can ask from your goalkeeper, so I think I personally think he's going to end up being the number 1 now. I think that's a decision that's been made. I'm not quite sure what the situation is with Joe Wildsmith, but with his contract expiring in the summer, he's shown that he's capable of... For me, I think he's a championship goalkeeper, Joe Wildsmith. So that could be a player who looks to move on in the summer with his contract expiring. Obviously, Callum Elder, after a disappointing performance against Burton, he was really good against Lincoln City at the weekend. So I think he keeps his place. And obviously, the midfield 2 speaks for itself. The back 2 speaks for itself of Cashin and Nelson. And obviously, with no Ryan Niambi, Kane Wilson is the obvious choice at right back. Obviously, we are still waiting on an announcement for Corey Blackett-Taylor. It's progressing. All that the media keeps saying at the minute is there's no issues, everything's good. So let's hope we can get that one over the line and he'll be involved, and hopefully he'll be involved for Reading. But if not, there's nothing better than making your debut at home at Pride Park, which is what he could do at the weekend if he isn't available in time for Reading. So thank you all for watching this video. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support and everything that's happened on the recent videos. I'm obviously really close to 100 subscribers, just 4 away. So if you could please hit that subscribe button, make sure you like and comment your team and score predictions, and then I'll catch you in the match review. Be sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.